మన మైక్ మ్యూట్ పెట్టాలి కదా.
Guys, we'll wait for another 5 minutes for people to join in and then start off. Okay. So we'll start sharp at 8:05. Hello. Hi, guys. So, good evening, everyone. So, let's start today's lecture. We'll be covering most of the modules so that you don't you're not left with anything else. See, my plan today is to cover the leftover question functional arrays, and then we'll skip to the conditionals and practice questions because 2D arrays is not yet covered in the class. So we'll be Aritik will be covering 2D arrays today in the class. So we'll start off there. Okay. So 2D arrays I'll try and cover tomorrow. We have 6 questions, so I'll try and cover most of them tomorrow itself. So we'll be taking on with practice questions of conditionals and loops after we cover the array rotation in today's lecture. Sorry guys, one sec. That's an important call I need to take. All right. Yeah. Hi, sorry for the interruption. Some important one I need to answer. So yeah, coming back. So I'll be covering functional arrays today and the practice questions as well. I'll try and cover at least entire conditions, and we'll cover 1 or 2 questions of loops as well, because my target is to cover at least 5 questions today. So let's hope that we cover these both modules entirely. So let's see where it goes. Let's start off today's question. All right. Yeah. Focus on what you have right now. Don't focus. Yeah. I'll suggest you to complete 100% assignments. That's what I'll suggest you. The rest, I leave it up to you. It's your call. But yeah, it's always a healthy practice to submit all this, solve all the assignments so that anything that comes into view, you have a knowledge of it. Because it's not guaranteed to come from arrays, or it's not guaranteed to come from if conditions only. Okay. So yeah. John Watson knows an operation called right circular rotation on an array of integer. One rotation operation moves the last element to the first and shifts all the remaining elements right one. To test the abilities of Sherlock, Watson provides Sherlock. Okay, this is all total bullshit. Basically, what we are left with, I'll explain you the question in just. Everyone, you can read the problem. I'll give you a minute, and by the time I'll write what I want to. Okay, I hope. Yeah, all right. I'll explain to you what the right shift means and what the left shift means. Okay, so if we shift this array by 1, so after 1 rotation, right shift means you shift the elements towards right. So this means 3 will go at the position of 4, 4 will go at position of 5, 5 will go at position of 6. Left shift means elements are shifted left. That means 5 will go at position of 4, 4 will go at position of 3, and 3 will go at position of 6. So we are doing a right shift. That means right side. So after 1 shift, how will the array look? 3 will come here. Where exactly? 3 will come at the place of 4. 4 will come at the place of what? 5. 5 will come at the place of 6. Sorry. And 6 should ideally be shifted here, but we don't have an array place here. So that's basically because array size is limited to this one only. So if we find an element that is shifted to the end of that, so what we ideally do is we'll shift it back to the front. Okay, so that's how the array is going to look after if k equals 1. That means you have rotated it 1 time. Now let's rotate it again. Let's follow the same process. 6 goes at the place of 3 because you need to shift it 1 more time. So that means how it becomes now, I'll write directly now. 5 will come at first, then it will be 6, then 3, and then 4. This is for k equals 2. Okay. Now for k equals 3, again, now it's time for the third rotation. We have done 2 rotations. For the third rotation, what the array will look like? That is going to be 4, 5, 6, and 3. That is k equals 3. And after the last rotation, it will be what? 3, 4, 5, 6. So do you have look at any similarity that this array looks exactly like initial one? So after how many shifts we arrived at the initial one? 4 shifts. Now think logically here, like after every n shifts, the array will look exactly like it was before. Explain again about k equals 2. K equals 2 is what this out. See, 6, we have k equals 1, this array. Now we do the same process that we did for k equals 1. From k equals 0 to k equals 1. This is k equals 0. That is the initial state. So we'll do the same process from k equals 1 to k equals 2. That is 6 will go to the right, then 3, then 4, then 5 comes here. 5 place doesn't exist, so we move 5 to the front. That's about 5, 6, 3, 4. That is for k equals 2. Okay, and we repeat the same process. And after exactly k equals 4, the array looks exactly same. Why? Because after every n positions, after every n shifts, the array is going to look exactly same. So our inference from this is after every n shifts, the array, yeah, that is correct. So after n rotations, the array is going to look exactly the same as initial. The array is back in initial state. I hope I'm clear till here. Okay, that is about it. We are here. Now we know after every n shifts, the array is exactly same. So if the k is less than n, then we have the solution. We know it again. Okay. What do you want me to repeat, Sumit, here? Till there, I haven't done any logic. I'm just doing the rotations. I'm shifting the array one by one. And after k equals 4, we found that array is exactly same. So 4 is equal to n. So that's why we inferred from this that after every n shifts, the array is looking exactly same. Okay. All right. So that's basically about it. Now, this is the main inference part because k is not going to be limited till n. K can be greater than n also. But if k is greater than n, it will not make sense that we need to bring k down till n. N shifts means you have rotated the array n times. That's it. N shifts slash rotations. One rotation means shifting each element to right one time by one. Okay. That's it. So after n rotations, the array is going to be coming back to initial states. So let's say the k was say 5n plus 3, anything that is number 5n plus 3, where n is the size of the array. So doing 5n rotations won't make any sense. We just have to do 3 rotations. That is it. That's all we got to do. Okay. So 5n plus 3 rotation is the all 5n plus 3 doesn't make sense. We only need to find the array after 3 rotations because after 5 rotations, the array is going to look exactly same. There is a cycle going on. After for k equals 5, you will see the array looks again the same. That is 6, 3, 4. Okay, that is going to be 6, 3, 4, and 5. K equals 5. So k equals 5 is going to be equal to k equals 1. So basically, this cycle is going to repeat itself for 5, 6, 7, 8. Then again 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. That's basically I've taken so that you are able to get it better in a better way because 3, 4, 5 is too short to explain. That's why I've taken 4 elements in the array. There can be n elements, n is variable. So depending on that, we will decide. Okay. N shift slash rotation. That is n here is the size of the array. Okay. I hope I'm clear till here. So basically, if we have say 5n plus 5 rotations, we don't know what the n is, but if it is denoted in form of n, k is denoted in form of n, that is said to be 5n plus 5, then we don't have to do 5n rotations. We just have to do 5 rotations and we are done. So basically, first things we need to do is going to be, we'll do a k modulo n, because if k is greater than n, we want k to be between 0 to n minus 1 only. That's it. 3 digits, that means 3 numbers are there. It's not about 3 digits, means digits as in this numbers. If the n is 3, we are given n as input only, so we don't need to worry about it. If you look at the thing, we have everything here. The first line contains space integers that are n, k, and q. So we are given n and we are given k. Q is not a matter of our things. Okay, so n and k is the thing where we are going to focus. Number of digits, no, number of elements. Digits is a different thing. Digit is this digit. So this doesn't mean 2 digits. Now it doesn't mean 5 digits. This is still 4 digits only. 4 digits means 4 numbers. I'm not talking about digits. We will be doing numbers. No, you cannot use bitwise rotation. Yeah, bitwise rotation is an entirely different concept. K is the number of rotations you need to do. It's the number of times you need to shift the elements. So I'm saying is, if it is greater than n, then we need to bring it below n by doing this particular option, that is k modulo n, so that k lies between 0 less than equal to k less than equal to n minus 1. That's the k range after this operation. Okay. You have to rotate it 2 times. That's correct, Jamil. So we'll do this operation to get the k between the range. Now, the question comes, how to do the k, how to know the kth place directly. One question is simply you do a I plus k. That is correct. I am not denying that I plus k is not correct. See, if you say is I plus k, that is okay with me. But the problem is that I plus k might go beyond range. Like if I say, let's, for example, I where is the index of the element and k is the number of rotations that are left after this particular operation. Yeah, n limit is n minus 1. That's why k modulo n is going to give you a k that is, this will result in a k that will be lying between 0 to n minus 1. That's what I wanted to tell you. Okay. Now, coming to the point. Now, I is the index of any element of the array. Okay. Now we have the index of the element. We have the k that is between 0 to n minus 1. But still, okay. But still, if we add that I plus k, it might go out of. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say the index was 1. Okay. Let's say I is equal to 1 and k is equal to 4. Okay. Our index ranges from 0, where here I is going to be belonging to 0 less than equal to I less than equal to n minus 1. That is for sure, because the index of the array ranges from 0 to L minus 1. We studied it yesterday in that parse score thing. Okay. All right. So we have the index range. Now here n is equal to 5 in this, n is equal to 4 in this example. Okay. So our I should be between 0 to 3. Now, if you do a I plus k directly, what this gives result is 5. And our k is what? 4. So that means this is where it should belong. No, k cannot be 4. K should be 3, because we are doing a k percentage n. So after this, let's take the example of k equals 3. Now 1 plus 3 is equal to what? 4. Does index 4 exist for us according to this equation? No, it doesn't. Okay. Okay, so this index 4 doesn't exist in the array because the indexes that exist are 0, 1, 2, 3. All those who are attending the class for the first time, please go the acciojob.com, watch the previous recordings that are already available at the acciojob.com, watch them and you will be able to learn what I'm teaching you right now. So you need to first watch the recordings because everything builds out. Okay. Coming back to the question, now I plus k equal to 4. Is this in the range? No, it isn't. It is not in the range. So that means we need to shift it somewhere. I equals 1 index element. That means I equals 1 index element is what? 4. And where does 4 lie when k is equal to 3? It lies at the first position. So how do you get the first position? So you modulo this number by n so that you also make sure that this I plus k value is also between 0 to n minus 1. That's it. That's the whole logic of this question. And we are done. Okay. So the question is about, you need to print the elements that are there at this index after n rotations. So you will be given q queries. Okay. And on those q queries, you need to print the element that are present after k rotations in the array. Okay. So basically the essence of the question is you need to rotate the array k times, and when you get the resultant array, the printing part is quite easy. That is not the thing. Okay. So we know from our yesterday's class that the indexes of array are ranging between 0 to n minus 1 only. That is 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's why it's going to be 0 to n minus 1. I'm writing this for generic purposes so that you can understand. Okay. All right. So Shilpa, if you're going to barge in at the middle of the course, I'm not answering any of these questions. These all questions are answered at the start of the course. If you want your questions answered, you need to wait for the next batch to start, or you can go watch all the recordings. All the recordings have most of the answers that people ask. Okay. So yeah, these questions won't be entertained in today's class. So yeah, that's about it. Now we have got the range in 0 to n minus 1. So we know indexes are between 0 to n minus 1. Let's take example where k is equal to 3. So what is the general approach you will take? You will basically take is you will directly move it k times, but there is a case that I plus k becomes greater than n. But the index of the element doesn't exist after n minus 1. So you need to get it below n. That's why we do a modulo n, so that I plus k is also ranging between 0 to n minus 1. If we do I plus k modulo n, that is essentially this thing. Sorry. I plus k modulo n, if we do like this, then what we are essentially doing is 4% n. That makes this operation in this manner. Okay. So that's about it. Let's start coding now. Scanner SC equals now we have the scanner. Let's take the input format. Let's have a look at input format, because modulo is what we do to get the values between the range of 0 to n minus 1. What does modulo do? If you modulo it by n, that's what you are doing here. Khalil, I've explained it twice. Now point me to a specific line what you didn't understand in these first 14 lines. The first 8 lines I've cleared before. So the question is between line 10 to 14. If you have any doubts there, everything I've explained thoroughly. Now, what's the doubt in line 14? Okay. Line 14 is basically saying when you do a I plus k, what's the general approach? If you want to do a k shift, what you will generally do is you will add up to the index directly. 13 basically says, this is explained yesterday, so I'm not explaining it again. So there's nothing in line 13 as well. That basically means the indexes of the array ranges between 0 to n minus 1. That I've explained yesterday, why it is there, why it is there. Line 14, coming to line 14. So line 14 means what's the general approach to get the array after k rotation? That is going to be I plus k, correct? So if you're doing a I plus k directly, so when you do I plus k directly, what you essentially do is basically there is a probability that I plus k goes beyond n, but the array is of size n only. So if it is of size n, then what you ideally need to do is modulo it by n, so that this value again comes between 0 to n minus 1, like we did it here. That's what it is about. Okay. We have taken int n, k, and q as an input. Q is not much making sense to you guys. I know that. Don't worry about it. Our first target is to get the array after k rotation. So we'll be doing that only. Int bracket arr equals new int bracket n. Now let's take the array input. For int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus the first operation. Let's first get the inputs. Now, what's the first step that we do? We did a k equals k modulo n. So we'll do the same here, k equals k modulo n. Now we'll define another array that is going to be the rotated one. So let's define it as rotated equals new int bracket n. Now for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay. So rotated bracket I plus k percentage n equals ARRI, because we are shifting the ith element of the array to I plus k. That's what we discussed here. So that's what I'm doing here. Now we have the queries. So after this loop, we have the rotated array. So what this question asks is, it will give you q indexes and you need to print the elements at those q indexes. That's it. Okay, so we'll be taking those q inputs. Int index equals sc dot next int, and we'll do a system dot out dot print ln rotated bracket index, and that is it. Console Q is the number of queries that you want to answer, and the Q queries will be given in each query. You will be given an index, and you need to print the element that at that index in the array. For loop, we can declare inside whatever variable is declared inside for loop, it remains inside that scope only. So you have to redeclare that variable if you're using it. I guess I've dry runned it here itself. This is how the dry run is going to look. There is nothing else that I can do for you. This I have run it, guys. See, if you're going to ask me to explain the same line that I explained here, that's not possible, dude. That's the line that I explained. Line 14 is same as line 30 that I've written. What we are doing is we are finding the index of the new element. So that new index is going to be inside the rotated one. And we are shifting the current element, that is ARRI. That's what we are doing here. Guys, if you're not going to listen to the explanation, you won't be able to understand it. Yeah, you can skip line 26. That's correct. It's up to you. That's for the easier explanation. I've done that. The query logic, if you want to try, and that is nothing but basically you will be given q indexes. आपको q index देंगे, q अलग-अलग indexes देंगे. आपको उस index पे rotation के बाद array जब rotate हो गई है, उसके बाद जो array बनी है, उसमें उस particular index पे कौन सा element है वो आपको print करना है. तो आपको q अलग-अलग index देगा user, and उस indexes पे आपको print करना है. That's it. Line 26 is basically because doing n rotations won't make any sense. That's why we have done a k percentage n. From line 33, there's nothing, guys. You are given, आपको Q indexes देंगे. Okay. अगर जब आपको Q indexes दे दिए जाएंगे तो आपको उसमें हर अलग अलग इंडेक्स पे जो भी एलिमेंट है आफ्टर रोटेशन ऑफ द array that is in the rotated one, you need to print the element at that index. That's the output thing that you need to do. You need to print the values of the elements at the given indices. So these are the given indices and we are printing the elements here. That's it. See, you're going to come at line 30 only. I know what the line 30 is. Line 30 is exactly line 14. So when I asked line 14 is clear, everyone said yes, then only I move forward. So there's nothing in line 30 that is not explained in line 14. So don't play these mind games with me. I know what I'm explaining. You cannot give I. I is the for loop variable. The user is given input as this index. So that's why we are using this index. Okay. You want me to try run the program? I'll try run it. I don't have an issue with it. So we have these inputs. That is not going to make any sense if you haven't understood the logic. I know that. So yeah. And for this particular inputs, n is going to be 3, k is going to be 2, and q is going to be 3. Q is not of our concern. So the array initially is what? Array initially is 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 is the array elements. 1, 2, 3 is the array elements we have got. So we need to do 2 rotations. So basically what we are doing is 1 plus 2. That is what I is equal to 0. For the first element we are doing is ARI is equal to 1 right now. Okay. Let me just write them below. So we have ARRI 1. So let me just do a 3 index based thing. Okay. So this is how the array looks for us. 1, 2, and 3. The rotated one is right now empty. We don't know at what place which element is going to come. So we will just keep empty spaces here. Okay, these are 3 empty spaces. So we are first referring to this I is equal to 0. So that means ARRI is 1. So 0 plus what the K is what? 2. 0 plus 2 percentage n. So 2 percentage n is what? 3. 2 percentage 3 is going to be 2 percentage 3 is going to be what? 3 only. 2 percentage 3 is going to be 2 only. So that's why a rotated bracket 2 becomes 1. That is rotated bracket 2 is here. Okay. So we have at index 2, we'll get this first element. Now we come back to the second element. 2, after first rotation, it should come at 3. After second rotation, it should come here. That means at the place of 1. Does this formula return? Let's check. So I is initially what right now? 1. K is what? 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 percentage 3 is 0. That means it is correct. So that means we are going to enter 2 here. Now we come back to 3, integer 3. Integer 3, index is what? 0, 1, 2. I is equal to 2. K is again equal to 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 percentage 3 is going to be 1. That is index 1. That's why it looks like this. And that's it. So that's our rotated array. That is what we are going to use here. That's the array. That's how the array looks modified. It was initially 1, 2, 3. Now it looks like something like this. Okay. Now we have the count. So we take Q indexes. That is, first we have to print the element at 0 index. So we do rotated bracket 0. Rotated bracket 0 is what? 2. So 2 is printed at the output screen. Next we take 1. So rotated bracket 1 is what? 3. So 3 is printed at the output screen. Next is what? Index. Next is what? Index 2. So index 2, rotated bracket 2 is 1. That's why. ARR queue is not the case. Queue is the number of queries. ARR queue might not even exist. And ARR queue is not going to exist because there are 3 queries and ARR 3 doesn't exist at all. 0, 1, 2 is the only thing that exists. Line 39, we take the index input from the user. User is going to give Q different indexes. So we take Q different indexes as an input in the for loop. And in the same for loop, we print those indexes directly. If you want, you can take the indexes in the array of size Q and then print elements at each of those indexes. That's just going to make it more complicated. That's what I don't want. Okay, I'll give you one more chance to look at the code and then I'll move on to the next problem. I'll run this code right in front of you. If the test cases are passing for me, then the question doesn't have a problem. Your code might have problems. Anyone can give anything. The test cases are going to be meant and they are made in such a way that they will not fail according to the given question. The question is framed, so the test case will follow the same question. I don't think I have to answer these questions every time. That's basically here, guys. If you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to explain shit to you again. Explain it each and every line here in detail. I've given you the code, try run it. Now what's the thing doubt? See, if you know data structure, it's well and good. You can do it. I have no issues with it. But yeah, those are not thoughts. I am not touching those. All right. I don't see any other doubts. So I'm moving on to the next problem now. Okay, so let's get started with water bill. Okay, so in this task, you need to identify the water bill for a household. So basically in this task, what you will be given is the quantity of water liters, and based on that quantity, you need to print the bill that you need to generate for the user. Basically, bill as in you need to print the total amount that it needs to be charged. Yeah, 2DRA part is included that will be taught today. So those doubts will be taken tomorrow. I'm not taking them because they are not taught in the class yet. Okay. Yeah, conditionals are there, so it will use if else. So basically what this question says is you need to print the household bill for a household water bill for a certain number of liters. Okay. The liters are going to be variable that can be between 0 to 100, 100 to 200 or 200 and above, because these are the 3 different cases that we need to handle. It is very clear from these conditions. Okay. So we charge the user for first 100 liters rupees 15. For the next 100, that means if 100 to 200 liters, we charge it rupees 14 per liter, and after 200 liters, we charge it rupees 12 per liter. So basically what this means is I'll take 3 examples to explain this to you. Let's take the first example as say 62. Then we have 170. And then we have something called 240. Okay. So these are the quantity in liters. Okay. So these are the quantity in liters. So what we need to do now, we need to print the bill for 62 liters. So for first 100 liters, for first 100, we need to charge 15 per liter. So that is but obvious that 162 is less than 100. So we'll be charging 15 per liter. So we'll do it directly 62 into 15. That's the water bill. Now it comes out to be 170. Okay. So if 170 is there, that means now we have two conditions. For first 100 liter, we need to charge 15. So for the first 100 liters, we will charge him rupees 15. Okay. Now for the leftover 17 liters, because we have charged him for 100 liters, basically हमने उसको 100 liters का charge कर लिया है. तो अब हम वो 100 liters का charge हटा देंगे और बाकी बचे हुए जो quantity है उसको 14 rupees per liter. So the leftover quantity, that is going to be what? 170 minus 100. This is the leftover quantity. And what is the charge for these liters? That is going to be rupees 14. So this is the total bill. And for 240, same. For first 100 liters, we are charging rupees 15. For the next 100, because we have another set of 100 liters here. So basically, we have charging another 100 into 14 and the leftover. Now leftover is what? 240 minus 200 into 12. Okay, so that's basically it. So we will have to handle these three cases. Okay, let's first define the scanner as usual. I'm defining W as the variable name that denotes water liters in quantity. We have defined W now. Now, if W is less than 100, that's the first case, right? Less than or equal to 100. Because for the first 100 liters, then we just have to print it directly. System.out.print ln W into 15. Okay. Else if W is greater than 100 and W is less than equal to 200, then we need to charge what? So we'll copy paste the same line, W minus 100 into 14. Okay. And plus what is the left? That is 15 into 100. You can write the value directly because that's the basic math. So I'll write 1500 directly. You can write as a 15 into 100 as well. Else, that means water is above 200. So what we'll do, we'll just print the quantity that is there directly. That means water quantity minus 200 into 12 and the leftover, that is 100 into 14, that is going to be 1400, and the leftover, that is going to be 1500. That's it. That's the code. I'll explain it once again. Basically, you will be given a quarter liters quantity. उसमें what you need to do is for the first 100 liters, जो आपके पहले 100 लीटर पानी है उसके लिए आप उसको 15 रुपए पर लीटर चार्ज करोगे. उसके बाद उसके जो 100 लीटर्स होंगे उसके लिए 14 रुपए पर लीटर और उसके बाद जो बचे हुए लीटर्स उसके लिए 12 रुपए पर लीटर. तो बेसिकली इट्स लाइक द मोर द क्वांटिटी द लेसर यू चार्ज. So depending on that quantity, you have a fixed set of charges. If the water for the first 100 liters, you are going to charge him rupees 1500. That means अगर उसने 100 लीटर पानी लिया, दैट मींस उसको आप पर लीटर 15 रुपए चार्ज करोगे. सो फर्स्ट 100 liters, it is always going to be 1500 only. If the water quantity is less than 100 liters, then what you need to do is that much water quantity into 15. That's what you will be charging it. And similarly for next 100 liters, that means if the water quantity is between 100 and 200 liters, अगर जो उसने water quantity ली है वो 100 लीटर और 200 लीटर के बीच में होती है, तो पहले 100 लीटर के लिए तो आप उसको 15 रुपए चार्ज कर दोगे. That means first 100 liters you are charging him rupees 15. So if you have charged him for first 100 liters, then that first 100 liters is going to be charged already. So it needs to be removed from the water bill. So for that, we have added 1500. So the leftover quantity is what? W minus 100, because for 100 liters, you have charged this much amount. Now the leftover quantity needs to be charged at 14 per liter, because from this if condition, we for sure know that the water quantity is between 100 and 200 liters only. Otherwise, we know now that the water quantity is above 200. So that's why we have done this. That means for the first 100 liters, we are charging him 15 rupees. That is going to be 15 into 100. That's 1500. For the next 100 liters, it is going to be 14 into, per liter. So it's going to be 14 into 100. See, these are numbers. So these will be added as an option only. So you don't need to worry about it. I have explained it earlier. If plus is used with the same data type, they will be the operation is going to happen. We don't need to worry about it. Okay. नहीं, ग्रेटर देन, जब आपने लेस देन इक्वल टू 100 यहाँ पे हैंडल कर दिया, दैट मींस इसमें तभी आएगा जब वाटर क्वांटिटी 100 लीटर से ऊपर होगी. बिकॉज आपने यहाँ पे लेस देन इक्वल टू 100 किया, तो मतलब बेसिकली बॉर्डर केस का बनता है 100 लीटर. 100 लीटर तो इसमें एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगा, तो इसमें आने की बात ही नहीं उठती है. दैट्स इट. These are the 3 different water liter examples. That's it. There's nothing else about it. Everything is passed. See, now everyone is going to come with different flows. I don't mind. You maybe write water greater than 200 first, then the 100, and then less than 100. It's up to you. Okay, run code, run code. That's the same thing, dude. Yeah. No difference. For 100, it is 1500. You want me to put a custom quantity like we have put. So we can put it up. It's up to us. Let me just put 1,000. 1,000 is going to be huge amount. Let's put a 43 liters. Then it's going to be simply 43 into 15. What is the syntactical issue here, guys? This is basically, I've explained it earlier, when you use a plus operator with the same data types. This is what integer. This is also integer. Everything is integer here. So operations are going to take place as it is. We have done this in Celsius Sonnet question as well in the if conditional in the initial part output module. Okay. So when you use plus operators with the same data types, they are going to add up. They have the operation performed well. But if it was say I would have done this, then this would not be a correct way to do it, because this will just simply combine 2 strings, and this is not the correct way to do it. That's it. So if we are doing it in the same data types, then there will be no issues. One single integer is going to be printed always. Why W minus 200? Because यहाँ पे पहले 100 लीटर के लिए हमने 1500 चार्ज किया उसको, दैट मींस 15 पर लीटर. अगले 100 लीटर के लिए हमने 14 रुपए चार्ज किया, दैट इज 1400 पर लीटर. 14 rupees per liter, that's 1400. So this 2900 is already charged. So what's the left quantity? That is going to be W minus 200 liters, because for 100 we have charged here. Yeah. Okay, I hope this is now clear. So I am moving on to the next problem. It's already 8:50, guys. You're going to kill me now. Why W minus 100? Because we have charged him for 100 liters, guys. That's the same for 200 liters. Okay, so what should we cover first? Stopwatch, number of days. Number of days is a simple question. I'm not covering that anyway. Okay. Robin just received a stopwatch from a grandfather. Robin's stopwatch has a single button. Pressing the button alternates between stopping and starting the watch timer. When the timer is on, the display time increases by 1 every second. Initially, the stopwatch is stopped and the timer reads 0 seconds. Given a sequence of time that the stopwatch button is pressed, determine what the stopwatch timer displays. Okay, so essence of the question. First, let's understand what does the stopwatch, how does a stopwatch work? Okay, so we are talking about a very simple stopwatch that is only one button. That is going to be start and stop. That happens from the same button. So we don't have a fancy stopwatch that is going to do a like as in say see 2D arrays is not taught it. That's why I'm not going towards 2D arrays. Once it is taught today, so then I'll take up 2D arrays tomorrow in the lecture. Okay. So स्टॉप अभी क्वेश्चन समझाया ही नहीं है मैंने प्रमोद रुको तो सही स्टॉप वॉच इज बेसिकली हम जो लैब वाली स्टॉप वॉच यूज करते हैं कि हम प्रेस लैब बटन प्रेस करते हैं लैब हो जाता है वो सब नहीं है स्टॉप वॉच में सिर्फ एक बटन है उस बटन का प्रेस करोगे तो अगर स्टॉप वॉच रुकी हुई है तो इट विल गेट स्टार्टेड एंड if it is stopped then it will start again. So basically whenever you press that button, if the watch is stopped it will start, and if the watch is already running then it will stop. Okay, so what this question says is you need to print the time of the watch after pressing it t times. Okay, so basically आपने वॉच को n टाइम्स प्रेस किया है अलग अलग टाइम इंस्टेंसेस पे. ठीक है, तो अब कुछ टाइम वो चल रही होगी और आपने दबाया तो वो रुक गई होगी, फिर उसको जब नेक्स्ट टाइम आपने दबाया तब दैट वॉच हैज स्टार्टेड अगेन. सो you need to print the time the watch has run and the number of seconds the watch is run. The time is running continuously, but you need to print the time the watch has run. So basically, in all, you are given n times, you are given time instances. See, for example, like in the second the watch was pressed, the 5th second the watch was pressed, the 9th second the watch was pressed, the 10th second the watch was pressed, and 17th second watch was pressed. So based on these watch presses, at the last watch, after the last watch press, you need to print the time on the stopwatch. That's what the question says. If it is still running, that means the watch has not stopped. You need to print still running. Otherwise, if it is stopped, you need to print the time at the last press of the button. Okay. So how will you calculate this? Now the question comes, how will you calculate this? Okay. Initially, the watch is stopped. Okay. Initially, if the watch is stopped, let's take the first example. I'll take a simple example of this one. Okay, so these are the 4 instances, that is 0, 2, 104, and 117. These are the seconds when the watch is pressed. Okay, so initially the watch is stopped, that is given when the timer reads 0 seconds. Okay, now the watch is pressed at 0th second. That means the watch has started running. Okay, so for each second it is passing by, the watch timer is also increasing. So at the second, okay, the watch is pressed again. So it has stopped now. Okay. And how much time it ran? That is going to be 0 minus 2. That means these 2 minus 0, that is the time it ran. Here the time read 0 seconds. Now here, when it was stopped, the time was what? 2 seconds. Okay. I guess till here, clear till here. Any doubts here? Pretty simple. We started running at 0th second. The watch started running at 0th second. We stopped it at 2 seconds. So how much time that the watch runs? We ran it for 2 seconds. Okay. Now we again started running it at 104 seconds. Okay. So for 2 to 104 seconds, that means for 102 seconds. Okay. It was basically idle. I'll watch time. Let me just write it here. Watch time. At this instance, it was 0. At this instance, it became 2 and stopped. At this instance also, it was 2 because the watch was not running. It was stopped there. It has started right now itself. So the watch was stopped there. So the watch time remains the same. Now it started at 104 second and it stopped at what? That is going to be 117 seconds. So how much time did the watch run? This minus this, that's the only time, because from 2 till 104, the watch was stopped. That means 13 seconds. So for initial time was what? 2. And so the watch time now becomes 2 plus 13. That is 117 minus 104. So that is equal to 15. So this is the new watch time, and that is what we need to print. That's it. And this is the expected output. Okay. One 117 minus 104 is not 17 seconds, Suraj. Are we forgetting basic maths while we are learning coding? Please don't do that. Scanner SC equals new scanner system dot in. Okay. Now let's take the integer. The stopwatch ran for 15 seconds only. Now, if it ran for 13 seconds here and it ran for 2 seconds here, then it ran for only 15 seconds. See, we will be given the size of the array, that is going to be the number of times the watch was pressed. And after that, we will be given whatever is required. That means all the times when the watch was pressed. Okay. Yeah, many people have pointed it correct. If the n is odd, then the watch is going to be still running at any point of time. We don't care what it is. Okay. But we won't be operating it this way. We will do it in a different way. Let's take first the array inputs. Again, this question can be done in multiple ways. I'm doing it one way. There might be 10 other ways. I'm not denying to any of those ways. So don't worry about it. I am doing it the way I think is the most simplest one to do it. Okay. Now we have all the time inputs where the watch was pressed. Now we will create a flag that is called is running. See, when we have come to practice questions, we have learned array, we have used conditionals. So irrespective of the question module, don't think in a concise way that I'll use only conditional to solve it. You can use only conditional and solve it. I don't have an issue with that. I know it can be solved with only conditionals, but when it is easier to do it with array, why not use array? Is running equals 0? That means the watch is not running. The watch has stopped running, but at 104th second, the watch button was pressed again. So the watch started running at 104th second. This time is running continuously. The watch time is not running. It's like when you press the watch and when you stop the watch, does the time stop around you? It's not a time machine. It's not some Doraemon cartoon where you just press the watch button and everything around you stops. That is not humanly possible. We're talking about real life scenarios. Okay. Yeah, Aman, there's no logic in this. I'll just explain by coding it to you. That will be more important. Okay, so in the practical world, the time continuously runs. So the time is running at the 104th second. We press the button of watch again. So the watch started running again from second itself. So it had ran for 2 seconds when we started it again. So the third second came into picture. Then the fourth, fifth, until 117 it ran. That means for 13 seconds it ran. So the time will show 2 plus 13. That is going to be 15. Okay. So let's, and we also have a watch time. And watch time equals 0 because initially the watch time is 0. We know that. Now, if is running equal to 0, that means watch was stopped and now we have started it. Okay. Now, if we have started the watch, So that's basically like if we have started the watch now, so we'll just do a is running equal to 1. And because in this period of time, the watch was not running, so we don't need to modify the watch time. Otherwise, that means the watch was running and we have stopped it. So we'll update the is running again by 0. And the watch time is going to be updated by what? Watch time equals watch time plus ARRI. That means the current time when it was pressed and the previous one. That is what ARRI minus 1. That's why I've used array. Otherwise, you have to use two variables. You can use that as well and no issues. But this is a simpler way. I minus 1 so that we know the previous time when it was pressed. That's what we printed in the logic. That's what we are doing here. And that's it. Now at the end, we'll add a if. If is running equal to 1. That means the watch is still running. That means we need to print what? System dot out dot print ln still running. Otherwise, we need to print what? System dot out dot print ln watch time. And we are done. Now any doubts? Because the logic is simple. If the watch is stopped, we'll just start it running. Okay, if we have started running right now, then the time is not counted. Like we have seen here, it was stopped at second and it was started at 104 second. So when we started at 104 second, so basically this is the flag where 0 means the watch is not running. And initially it is given that watch is stopped. So that means if the watch is not running, we just started running because we, in that matter of time, the watch was not running. So we don't care about watch time at all. We'll only care about watch time when the watch was already running and we have stopped it. Then only we'll be looking at that. That's why I have returned the comment here. Watch was stopped and now we have started it. It was initially stopped and now we have pressed the button. So the watch has started running right now itself. So we don't know what the time is going to be. Till when it is going to run, when we go into else, that means the watch was running and we have stopped it. So if we have stopped it, that means we are at this case. So if we have stopped it, that means we have started at some place. So that's why we look at the previous time when we have started it and we subtract the two. Array line means that is the current time when the watch was pressed. And at this time, we have stopped the watch. That means at 117, if we have stopped the watch, then how do we calculate that for what time it ran? We just subtract it from the previous time it was pressed. That means 117 minus 114. So how will you access the previous element? That is going to be I minus 1. That's it. It is not mentioned anywhere. It is our assumption, guys. If we have, that is, some variables are meant to take as assumption. It is your understanding. I take is running as a flag variable, that if it is 1, that means the watch is still running. If it is 0, then it means it is not running. These are my variables. These are not defined anywhere. Array 0 is not equal to 3. Array 0 is going to be 0, na? Array 0 is going to be the first time when the watch is pressed. For in this case, n is 2. So array 0 is going to be 7. Array 1 is going to be 11. Let's run the code. So 402.104, it is running perfectly fine. That is 15. That's what we saw here. So it will pass. Yeah, array is the not number, the time when the watch was pressed. It is not the number of times. It is the time at which the watch pressed. The number of times is n. N is the number of times, and array I denotes the ith, like when the ith time the watch was pressed, what was the time? Yeah, I have defined it 0 because our assumption, according to our assumption, we take 0 when the watch is stopped. That means the watch is not running. And it is given to us in the question that initially the watch is stopped. That's why we have taken is running as 0 initially. Everything is mentioned in the question. It's just about your interpretation. Because you have pressed the button again, na Prithvi. Like if you have a single button stopwatch, the one we use for to get the time of track and field athletes. So basically, what we do in that, we stop, we press the button, the watch starts. We press the button, the watch stops. And if we press the button again, the watch starts at the same time it was stopped. It doesn't reset unless you reset it by removing cells or something like that. So that's why. So at 104th second, you press the watch button again, so it started. Yeah, so 2 to 104 seconds, the watch was not doing anything. The watch was standing in my hand, sitting. I was waiting for the 104th second. And the moment it came, that's why it is going, that's when it is going to run. So the watch has its own time seconds running, but the system time is different. That means the background time जो आपका real world time है वो तो हमेशा चल ही रहा है ना. तो जब 104th second आया 0 seconds के, you press the watch button again. So the watch button started reading time from 2 seconds. Now it is incrementing time by 111 and 11 seconds, 7 seconds it stopped again. So that means for 13 seconds it ran. So how much time the watch has increased? That is going to be 2 initial time plus the 13 seconds it has run right now. That is 15. 2 plus 13. That is the watch time at the show right now. Yeah. See, initial time was 2 when the watch was stopped. Now it started running at 104 second and it ran till 117 seconds. So how many seconds it ran? That is going to be 13 seconds. So after 2 seconds, the watch ran for 13 seconds. So that means for 13 seconds it ran down. So that means it is going to be 2 plus 13, that is 15 seconds. That's the scanner definition. That's where the main code is. That's it. Because array make this line more easier for me. Otherwise, I'll have to store the previous time and the current time, and that will make it more difficult for you also. Line 21 means is the watch stopped, is running equals 0. That means the watch is not running. So we don't care. We just press the button. We start running the watch. Otherwise, we have stopped the watch now. So we'll increase the watch time by the amount of time it ran. I have ran it, buddy. I'm submitted it. That's the input. See, your input output is correct, but there might be some edge case that you're missing. Okay, I'm not able to get. First for loop is to get the input. You need to get the times when the watch button was pressed. So that's what the first for loop is for. And the second loop is to calculate the watch time. See, if you understand this example well, then the question is over. This is the only part that you need to understand. That's it. There's nothing else in this question. Line 19 loop is to traverse the time again, and now you need to calculate what all times the watch was running. How is this possible, guys? That is but obvious. The time is going to be provided in increasing manner. Does the time run from 117 to 104? Can we go back in time in real life? We are not talking about fictional movies right now. We are talking about real life stories. So being in the real life. See, when you read the problem, there are certain things that are but obvious that they won't provide the input in such a reverse manner that is not humanly possible. The time is going to always increase. It never decreases, right? Once it has started running, it will always run ahead. I don't see any other doubts that are that are genuinely there. I don't think anything is left in this problem now. Okay, then let's move on to this is the easiest problem. Yeah, I am giving the logic. There's no logic in it. Okay, I'm not actually coding this problem. Okay, that is for a reason. Like you will also know why I'm not coding it because there is nothing much in this code. Okay, I'm just exempting this code for a reason. Yeah, you can definitely do in it in switch case, but that is not exactly required. Like you could have done what the shorter way of do is first do a if n equals to print 28. So basically what this question says is you need to consider a non-leap year. That is the first thing. And after considering that, what you need to do is basically based on the number of the month, you need to print the number of days in it. Guys, I have an urgent call to attend. Give me just 2 minutes. I'll be back. All right. Hi guys. Sorry for the interruption. I had an urgent work call. So yeah. All right. Any doubts in this problem? So basically what you need to do is depending on the month, you will just add a if condition, and depending on the month number, you will print the number of days in it. So second month has 28 days. Since it's a non-leap year, we are given that it's a non-leap year. So don't ask me question that what happens if it is a leap year. We don't want to consider that. Okay. So n equals 1. That means the January, March, May, then it's July, August, October, and December. All these months are 31 days. That's why we have added a or, and we have printed 31 here. Otherwise, if it is second month, then it is going to be 28 days. And for all the rest months, it is always 30 days because these are the only three possibilities that are present. So we take only these things, three things. Okay. Any doubts in this problem? That's why I don't want to code this. That's unnecessary waste of time. So yeah. Okay. Let me just take one of these questions, I guess. Okay. So you need to find a factorial of a given number where n factorial is equals to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 dot till 1. Okay. So I guess that is pretty much clear, evident from the formula what you need to do. So let's just start coding it directly. That is going to be scanner space sc equals new space scanner bracket system dot in. Now we have integer n as the input. Integer n is equal to sc dot next int. No, factor and factorial not same. Factor means find the number of that factors of that number. Factorial is a different word. Factorial definition means you multiply all the numbers from 1 till that n. That is what factorial means. So int fact is equals to 1 initially. Now we'll do a for int I equals 1, I less than equals n, I plus plus. So let's define fact is equals to fact into I, and we do a system dot out dot print ln fact. Everyone should say very easy question, everything, but this won't pass all the test cases. Exactly the point. N is between 0 to 20 also, but then also the input range might not pass. I'll show you. Let's see what the 10 factorial looks like. 36, 28. Okay. So let's see what the 12 factorial looks like. That is also okay. Let's see how 18 looks like. See, a negative number came up. That means something is going out of bounds. That means the integer, it is not in the integer range. So that's why what we'll do is we'll just replace it integer by long. Okay. So that's when everything will be fine. And that is it. Yeah, Akash, you can take that as well. There's no issues with that. You won't face any errors. And the things are correct. Error will come at any value above 15. Those values aren't right. There might be a case that you were given a positive value, but that's a garbage value. That's not the correct value because integer overflow has already happened. So the correct values won't be given at all. So whenever you see that the output that you're printing, any range that is going above 10 power 5, always use long. Don't hesitate to use long. Above long, there's long as well. But yeah, above that, I don't think so. You will need anyway. हाँ n 20 से less ही लूंगा buddy, but still if n is say 15, then the 15 factorial value goes above 10 power 5. That's why I have to take long. This is above 10 power 5. That's why I need to take long. Okay. I hope I'm clear with this problem as well. Yeah, you can use till 10 power 9 also. That is correct. 10 power 6, 10 power 7, it is working fine. But do you think it is in 10 power 9? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. 10 power 12. 10 power 12 is never going to come in integer. It is not going 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. It is going as 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. That's how it is going. Okay. All right. So, yep, it's 9:23. So I'll stop sharing now. That's pretty much it from my side, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be my last class. So, yep, we will be taking 2D array problems tomorrow. Yes. That's pretty much it from my side. You have guys have good 5 minutes break. Go get yourself refreshed. Ritik will join sharp at 9:30 and your lecture will start at 9:30. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, sorry for the delay. I think I'll give you a 3 minutes break. Right, go grab your Maggies and your water, right, and you can come back at sharp 9:40. Okay, we are left with 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay, you already have a page. Just give me a second. Start. Probably you should not eat in between the class, right? Because that will make you drowsy and you may fall asleep. Take a which I don't want. I don't want to see you sleeping in the class. Okay. Chalo. Let's quickly begin. Just a second. So we were in the course 3. Okay, I guess I have not shared yesterday's code. Probably I'll share that by today. Okay. So don't worry on that part. Okay. So today we have the last session on theory, that we have covered everything, practically everything that we were left. T-shirt. Again, there is some t-shirt repeating. Did I repeat this t-shirt as well? I don't even remember what I was wearing last yesterday's as well. Chalo. Okay, let's quickly begin. Array rotation will be done tomorrow. Okay, array rotation, you will have the entire doubt session on array rotation. Don't worry on that part. That will be covered in very much detail. Okay. So yesterday we were learning something about function. I'll try to begin from here. Yeah, I'll try to begin from here. I'll try to begin from functions. I saw your doubts yesterday in the session that you are facing. All of you are having some difficulty in understanding the function. We'll recap this, and then we have a very small topic, which is two-dimensional arrays, right? Yeah. Okay, no worries. If we do not understand anything, I am there to teach, right? I'm there to teach again and again, even if it requires 50 times of teaching, I'm there. Okay, chalo, let's quickly begin. So similar to in English, I'll speak in both. Okay. So similar to loops, right? In loops, we had 4 different parts: initialization, updation, initialization, condition, updation, body. Loop में 4 part होते थे: initialization, condition, updation, body. Here in function also we have 4 different parts. What is 4 different parts? Return type, which is the type, or what is the type of the value that we want to return. Okay. Next we have function name. What is the name of the function that we are defining? Okay. Next we have list of arguments or list of parameters, and these are the values that I want to give to the function. And then we have a body of the function, and this is the code that I want to run. Okay. In loop, it used to run whatever I used to write inside the body again and again. If condition used to run 1, whenever I will call the function, what is call the function mean? Whenever I will use this function, let's say I will define a function check event, wherever I will write check event and pass it some value, it will try to run this code, and it will try to keep, like perform whatever code is written inside. Now we can write if condition inside the function, loop inside the function. Okay. Increase volume if possible. I'm at max volume, and even I have removed one of the filters. Okay. That's facing issue in that class. Is the volume low? Are you facing difficulty in listening? Yes. Clear? Okay. Okay. So I guess not. Please try to use a headset if possible. Okay. Cupboard is open. Yeah. I'm very lazy. Just don't see that. Let me just close it. Otherwise, you will get distracted and it's closed now. Okay. Noise filter. No, I will get a lot of background noises. Right. So that I don't want. Clear? Is the voice clear? Is there any voice related to system related issue? Screen not, screen visible, voice clear? Yes. Sure. All is well. Sab changa si. Let's start. Right. So we have 4 different parts. Right. So yeah. First 2 things, public static, I told you to ignore. Right. Every time we write a function, just write public static before it. What does it mean? For now, let's ignore. Okay, if we get time, we'll understand what it is. Probably we don't need it as a part of Precourse because there is a lot of things to understand. Okay, we'll just focus on these 4 major parts. Okay. Function name क्या है? Easiest part in this, we just have to give a name, like we give name to variable. Same 8 rules that we understood for variables, we'll follow that. ठीक है, जो 8 rules हमने variables के लिए समझा था, we'll just follow that rules to give the name to this function. ठीक है. Next, list of arguments or list of parameters. What is this? So these can be any variable that we want to take. Integer, float, character, double, whatever variable we want to take as input, we can take input. Okay. Now inside the function, whatever is the operation that we want to perform, let's say we want to add all this number. So you can add it. Okay. In case you want to display it here itself, so you don't need to return something, you can display it here. In case you want to not display it here, you want to return this value. You want to give this value, whichever is calling this, whatever is calling this function, so we can return it. And whatever is the value that I'm returning, what is the sum going to be? What is the sum going to be? Sum is going to be integer. So we are returning integer. Okay. Sum is going to be integer, so we are returning integer. Next here, let's say I'm trying to check if this number is even or. Okay. So I'm returning a boolean value. If this number is even, I'm returning true. If this number is not even, I'm returning false. So I mark this return type as boolean. Okay. Now we can have the return type as any one of the fundamental data type, and we can have string as well. Right. So when I talk about fundamental data type, it includes strings in Java as well. Okay. So we can return character, float, double, boolean, integer, strings. Okay. We cannot return arrays. Okay. We don't return arrays. Okay. For array, there is a separate logic that I'll explain to you. Okay. Easy. Now wherever I need to use this, I will write this. Now let's say I have to check even again and again. Now instead of writing this code again and again, I can write it as check even. Okay. Clear? Yes, no. Okay. So 4 different parts of the function. Now tell me which part you are facing. Which is the part that you want me to? Yeah. एक बार हिंदी में बताते हैं. हमारे पास 4 parts हैं. Return type, function का नाम, list of arguments, ठीक है, और body of function. Function का नाम तो बहुत easy है कि जो भी नाम हमें देना है, हम उसे एक नाम दे दें. रिटर्न टाइप में क्या वैल्यू वो रिटर्न करता है, उसका क्या टाइप होगा. अगर हमें चाहिए फंक्शन में जो भी ऑपरेशन कर रहे हो उसके बाद वैल्यू वहीं पे डिस्प्ले करो तो हम डिस्प्ले करते हैं. अगर हमें चाहिए कि रिटर्न करना है कुछ वैल्यू वापस भेजना है जहां भी ये कॉल हो रहा है, तो हम रिटर्न कर देंगे और जिस भी डेटा टाइप का वैल्यू रिटर्न करेंगे, मान लो सम फाइंड आउट कर रहे हैं तो सम के लिए इंटीजर वैल्यू रिटर्न कर रहे हैं, तो इंटीजर रिटर्न करें, तो इसलिए इंटीजर रिटर्न टाइप स्पेसिफाई करते हैं. लिस्ट ऑफ आर्गुमेंट, जो भी हमें वेरिएबल चाहिए, जो भी वैल्यू चाहिए उतने आर्गुमेंट चाहिए. अगर हमें 4 नंबर चाहिए तो 4 इंटीजर चाहिए. अगर हमें एक इंटीजर 2 कैरेक्टर चाहिए तो एक इंटीजर 2 कैरेक्टर चाहिए. एक फ्लोट एक इंटीजर चाहिए तो एक फ्लोट एक इंटीजर चाहिए. तो जो भी कॉम्बिनेशन हमें चाहिए. ओके ठीक. अगर स्ट्रिंग लेना है so we can string pass, we can pass strings and we can let's say we want to pass string. ठीक है, string s, and let's say we just want to print this string. Whatever string we pass to this display function, it just prints it. So now we, instead of writing this, we can write display hello. Right. See, it solved our problem. Right? Now we don't need to write system.out.println again and again. We can simply write display hello. That will do the same one. Check even 13 is check even not a function. Okay, it is written in boolean. Right? I'm trying to store it in string. Okay, it is printing hello. Right? Now instead of writing system.out.println again, I can simply display hello, or I can simply change it to, let's say, this, or we can even change it to D. Right? That will also work. Right? So we can write D hello, and instead of writing system.out.println this lengthy line of code, I can simply write D hello. That will work. Or whatever string I want to print, hello world I want to print, I can print hello world. Okay, by passing it to D. What is the problem with name? No, you can give the name. You can give any name until let's just follow that the rules that we discussed. What if we print instead of return? Same way, right? If you want to print, you can print. If you want to return, you can return. There is no logic that you have to print in this time or you have to return in this time. Whatever way you want to define your function, you can do it. Okay. If you want that value back, So you can ask that value if you want to print that value inside the function, you can print. Line number 34. So this is the name of the function. I gave the name of the function as D. Because single statement. It is taking a string argument which is S, and it is simply printing S in the output. Okay. Yeah, if you write D hello again, it will print it again. If you write now, you can use it as many times as you want, right? So function can be reused. That is the entire point of defining function, that we have a piece of code and we want to use it again and again and again. Why use void? Okay. Why use void? Because it does not return anything. So in case the function does not return anything, we mark it as void. If we do not have a return statement in the function like this or this, we can mark it as void. ठीक है, जब हमारे पास फंक्शन में रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट नहीं होता, हम उसको void मार्क कर देते हैं. ठीक है, हिंदी में बता दें. तो बेसिकली हमने एक फंक्शन बना दिया, उसका टाइप void है और उसका नाम d रख दिया. वो एक स्ट्रिंग इनपुट लेता है और प्रिंट कर देता है, जो भी स्ट्रिंग दे रहे सिस्टम डॉट डॉट प्रिंट लेता है. हम इसको d को आप अगेन एंड अगेन यूज कर सकते हैं. अब मुझे बार बार सिस्टम डॉट डॉट प्रिंट नहीं लिखना है, मैं d लिख सकता हूँ. d yes, राइट, उसको स्ट्रिंग पास कर देते तो वो प्रिंट कर देगा. How to call a function? Function call बहुत easy है. Just write the name of the function followed by parenthesis and pass whatever number of argument it is asking. Let's say this is asking a single string, so we cannot write it as. If I write it as d, it will say me that you know what, d is expecting a string as input argument. Right? C cannot be applied. See, it is telling it is required string. It is telling it is expecting a string, but I'm not providing this string. If I provide it a string, whatever it can be, even if it is an empty string, that will work. Now, what if number is user defined? That is also fine. In case you want to take this number from user input, you can take it as scanner sc is equals to new scanner system dot in. In case you want to take this as user input, you can take it sc dot next in. We have taken it right away here. That you can take it in a different variable and pass that. Okay. That will also work. I might import it. I have not imported. As a scanner is C, okay, we have already defined scanner. Okay. हाँ, ये D से Q print हो रहा है, right? D से Q print हो रहा है. Check करो what is happening in D. Let's give it a number 14. See, 14 is so 14 is even, so it is printing 2. 23 is not even, it is printing false. Why this is printing? Why it is getting printed using D? Because what is D? D is the name of the function. I am passing it a string. D is the name of the function. I am passing it a string. This is receiving string and it is using println to print. So println ही print कर रहा है. D print नहीं कर रहा. D is the name of the function which is receiving that string. Inside this function, I am just written the statement system.out.println. So it is printing. Inline function we will not study for now. Okay, that is not good. We'll explain check event. Okay. So what is happening in check event? Check event, I am passing a number. Either this number can be taken as user input or I can pass it out myself. Okay, whatever number I pass. So what it is doing, it is taking that number as input, and then it is trying to check if this number is divisible by 2. If it is divisible by 2, it is returning me 2. If it is not, then it is returning me false. Okay. So I get this boolean value. First time I am trying to store it in a boolean variable s and I am printing that. Second, I am directly displaying it. So if the function returns something, and directly print inside println. Whatever value it will return, integer, float, character, double, it will print it. Okay. Got it? Yes, clear, easy. Basically, we moved some code to above, right? By printing both true and false. So first number we passed it as 14, so it is printing 2, right? We got the result as true, so it was stored in S, that printed 2. Second we passed 23, so it printed as false. Okay, let me just sum up once again. Okay. So function may there are 4 major parts. We have to understand these 4 parts: return type, function name, list of arguments, body of function. Okay. Function name क्या सब चीज? Anything, any name that you want to give to the function, you can give. Okay. List of argument, any value the function takes. Okay. Any value the function wants to take as input, you can give it inside in the list of arguments. Okay. Next, we can do any operation inside this function and then you can return a value in case you want. It is not mandatory that you'll return a value. In case you want to return, you can return. In case you don't want, you can simply, you can simply mark this as void. Okay. Clear? Now you can take string input, you can take integer input, you can take character input, and you can return any type of value. Is check even defined, or we can use any word? No, you can use any word, right? This is not that you can change it to even. Any word that you want, right? There is no defined as such. There is nothing that is defined. You can choose any word, and same rules that we followed while naming variables will follow the same. So let's do a function. Okay, let's write a function which will find the prime numbers. Okay, I'm writing it in a complete new page. Okay, as you all are requesting. Okay. Let's try to take this as Java. Last time I forgot and it froze the entire screen. Okay, so let's say we want to create a function which will find out which will check if a number is prime or not. Okay, can't it be written check and instead of system. Okay, see, why did I not write check even? So in case the function returns something, right? You can write it as check even, but in, okay, let's say if I write even, okay, let me just explain this small thing, then I can go to that primary. Let's say if I write even 13, okay, what will happen? Just run it. It is asking me input, I give it, let's say 14. See, so I'm getting true value for this. Let me just comment everything else, okay, so that you don't get confused. I'm commenting everything else. Okay, I've just written even 13. Okay, so what is happening? Just look, nothing. Why nothing is happening? Even 13, what it is happening? I'm calling this function. It went to this function. It okay, received 13 value in A. Inside it, try to check if it is even or odd. So it possibly try to divide it by 2. It is not divisible. So it went to here, it returned false. Now, here I'm not receiving that false. See, either if the function is returning something, you receive it in a variable, or you display it directly. That is the only way you can see that value. You receive it in a variable, you print that variable, use it, right? If you have any. You can directly print it, so you'll see it in the console. If you don't receive it in a variable, or if you don't print it, so what will happen? You call the function that is doing the work, that is calculating the thing. I can even show you that this is going inside the function. Let's say I can write it here, system.out.println checking even. Right? So it is going inside this function. This line will confirm that this function is printing. See, it is printing checking even. So it is checking this thing. This line of code is getting run, but we are not either displaying this, not receiving this. So nothing will happen. Right? Yes. Clear? So in case the function returns something, अगर function कुछ return कर रहा है, तो either we have to receive it in a variable, या तो उसको variable में store कर लो, या फिर उसको print कर दो, or print it as it is, right? In case the function is marked as void, we don't need to either receive it. For example, D was marked as void, so neither we are receiving nor we are printing. Inside D, whatever operation is happening, it will happen. So, right? Yeah, we need system.out. We need something to store either or to print if the function is returning. In case the function is not returning, like D was not returning, so we don't have to worry. If the function is marked as void, it is not returning, so we don't have to do anything. Since it is not returning, what will we receive? Will not receive anything. Boolean function. Okay, let's see this Boolean function. Okay, just same even odd wala logic. Okay, clear? So let's move to the next thing which will make sense. So let's try to take a user input. Let's try to firstly take. Let's try to have in the chat over here. Okay, I do not see my video. In case there is something that you want to point out, please do that. Yeah, java.util.scanner. Okay. We can take scanner sc is equals to new scanner. And we can take system dot in. Okay. So what we want to do, we want to take a user input, let's say n, which is sa dot next int. Okay, and we want to check whether this is prime or not prime, and we can pass this value. If this is prime, it prints prime, otherwise it does not. Okay. We can create a function. Again, we can mark it as, sorry, not outside this main. Okay, a function will be created inside this main. Okay, so don't create it outside the main. Util dot star is equal to util dot scanner. No, util dot star will import everything. Okay, everything that is present inside this util. Actually, I have not explained this. Right? So basically, this is the name of the folder. Okay, Java is the name of the root folder. ये folder structure, right? Folder structure में this packages are stored, right? Whatever code is stored, I'll pass array to function. Before passing array to function, I need to explain something. So that I'll cover. Okay. Okay. Let me just take this a minute to explain this. Okay. Package. Yeah. So this is the root thing, right? How our folders are there. This is the root folder. Inside this folder, there is a folder known as util, which has a lot of files. Inside this util, there are files like scanner. Let's say there is a file called math. Let's say there is a file called lang. Okay. So there are multiple files. Scanner is one such file that I'm trying to use. So that's why I marked it as scanner. If I mark it as star instead of scanner, I can, if I write java.util.star, what will happen? It will try to get all the files. Okay. So import, whenever I write import, so Java has a few code. Okay. It gives me, it by default does not always give me give me all the code. It gives me some code. Okay. Like for example, data types, system.out.println, right? Variables, all these logic. Right? If I want to take input, it tells me that you use this file that I have created and you use this to take input. Okay, for example, if I want to find mathematical operation, it will give me that use this math file. There I have written functions, how you can find sine, cos, tan, all this. Util means utility, yes. Okay, so I'm just trying to import specific file. In case we know the name of the file, we should always import it by the name of the file. In case we do not, so then you can write java.util.star. Okay. Now we can go to define the function. Is function definition should be written in main function? Yeah, you should always write it just above the main inside this class, inside the class. Okay, where the class curly bracket starts after that. For now, okay, later we can discuss a lot more things. But for now, write it public static. Since it is not returning anything, we are not expecting anything. We will mark it as void. Name is prime. Okay, what does it take? It takes an integer number. Done. Now we can write the logic to check if this number is prime or not. Right? So we can declare a count. If this is the count, count is initially 0. I'm assuming all the factors of the number are 0. There is no factors. I will run the loop from 1 to, let's say, equals to n and do I plus plus. If finally I get that a of I percentage I, sorry, why I'm writing n percentage, yeah, n percentage I double equals to 0. If n is divisible by I, then we can increase the count, right? If n is divisible by I, it will increase that count. Public static, just don't consider this. Just assume we have to write this thing before every function name. Okay. Void is the return type. This function does not return anything. We are not expecting anything. This function will return. So we are marking it as void. ठीक है, ये फंक्शन कुछ रिटर्न नहीं करेगा, इसलिए हमने इसको void मार्क कर दिया. इसके पहले हमने कुछ नहीं लिखा है, इसके पहले हमने पब्लिक स्टैटिक लिखा है जो हम हर एक फंक्शन के सामने लिख दे रहे हैं. ठीक है, फंक्शन का एक नेम है which is prime. Then we have n, which is the number it is taking. ठीक है, we are returning string. No, we are not returning string. We'll print it. We'll print it here. ठीक है. Okay. Let's say we want to print it. We'll check if count is double equals to 2. We'll print it. System dot out dot println. We can print it as prime. Else we can print it as not prime. Okay. Same prime वाला logic, right? Always. हाँ, एक बार हिंदी में बता. प्राइम का लॉजिक तो हमने बहुत बार पढ़ा है, राइट? कितने बार पढ़ लिया, अब एरे में देख लिया, उससे पहले भी देखा था. तो दिस शुड हैव बीन क्लियर. कि we are taking a count which is storing the count of all the factors, which is initially 0. सारे factors का count is initially 0. Next we are running a loop from 1 to n. ठीक है, and inside this loop we are checking, counting how many factors does n have. ठीक है. Now this is not loop topic. I'm trying to cover functions, so I'm just trying to write the same logic inside function. Okay? And then this is printed. Now if I have to check for any number, let's say n, I'll check. Next, let's say again I want to take a user input and I want to check it. So I don't need to write that entire logic again. I can simply use prime m and it will do the work. Okay. So if I have any common logic, let's say I have to check for n. So I'll write this code once. If I have to check for m, I'll write this code one more time. Here I don't need to write it again and again. I can simply pass this value, it will be received over here and it will run this. If I pass this m's value, it will be received and it will run this code. How to write using return without using print statement. You can return that if it is prime or not. I'll show you by returning that as well. Okay, let's run this. If I give it a value, let's say 11, it is prime. If I give it a value, let's say 78, it is not prime. So this is the use of function, that I write the code once and then I can use it again and again and again every time I want to do the same work. Right? Instead of writing that code again and again. Okay. Got it? Ab samajh aaya what is the use of a function. Now imagine more complicated programs, right? More larger programs where we are passing a number and we are trying to perform something, right? Finding Armstrong, finding palindrome, right? This is the use of functions. You get the argument, you get the work done. Now, even if I pass any number of arguments, it will try to do the same. And this is why in online coding platforms, you will see you have to just write the function. They will pass different values to the function, right? And they will check whether your function is giving the correct result or not, right? 916 में तो सिर्फ okay 916 okay, you are telling here I am written n. Okay, now I'll explain your concept. ठीक है, चलो. Okay, one more thing, loop भी तो लगा सकते हैं. हाँ, loop लगा सकते हैं, but let's say you have to do this again. How many times you will write them? Right? You have to write it in different places. You don't everything does not necessarily have to be done, right? You have to perform some work in between. That has to be done once, right? And then you cannot wrap these two things in loop, right? Because this statement has to be run only once. This cannot be run 2 or 3 times. So then you cannot use loop, right? Okay. Now the next concept of function, which is very important, I guess that you are getting to the correct part, that I have taken n over here, and when I am passing m, we are still seeing the correct result. How is this working? Right? Should it not be m? Right? How do you return wala bata? I'll come to return. Return wala I'll show you. So return wala I'll show. Before that, okay, this question, it is important. It will lead to our next topic on functions, which is call by value and call by reference. What does these two things mean, right? What are you not able to get, Sushant? Can you point to the line number? Achha, this is what I wrote just now. Line number 21. Yeah. This here I'm trying to check whether it is line number 31. Number 31. So 31 is the main function, right? Main function ke upar hi hame likhna hai, right? So main function, we have to write our code about the main function. Okay? We have to write our function about the main function. That is what I'm telling you. That is that I'm trying to come to that question. Reference point to it. Maybe yes and no in Java. Okay. So I'll explain these two things. Okay, before I explain these two things, I'll show you a weird kind of behavior. Okay, let me just show you a weird kind of behavior in function. Okay, we understood this. Prime wala samajh aaya. Okay, tell me this one you understood, right? Return wala thing I'll explain, come back to this. Okay, and understood finding prime, what it is doing, it is taking the value, it is able to find prime. Okay, yes. Whatever questions you have, I know what are the kind of question and what will solve that question. So like for explain कर देते हैं. So basically जो भी number हम pass करें, we are taking that number as n. Inside this we are checking n prime या नहीं. ठीक है, n prime है या नहीं, इसका logic तो हमने बहुत बार किया. We are just taking कि if count is 0, ठीक है, or we are running a loop from 1 to n. If there is any number that divides it, we are increasing. If finally the count value comes out to be 2, then it is prime. If it is not 2, it is something else, then it is not. Okay. हाँ, am I explaining? Count 2 समझ नहीं आया? ठीक है, count 2 कब होगा? जब if the number is already divisible by 1 and itself. There is no number in between 1 and n that divides this number, then the count will be 2. Apart from that, if there is any number that divides, count will become 3. Okay. If you want more detailed explanation on this, I guess we covered this 3 classes ago, where we have covered this again very detailed, the prime wala concept. Okay. Yes, how the output of m is coming, that I'm explaining, that I'm trying to explain. See. Okay. Let me just show you something. So let's say I create a function public static. I name it as void increase. Okay. I give it a number int a. I do a plus plus. I do println. After increase. Okay. And we can write this as plus a. Right? This is another way to display this. If you have a string and you want to display the variable in the same line, you can write string plus a. Okay, that will display it inside of println. Okay, this I guess we have not used. Okay. And let's use it. Okay. And let's write it as before increase. Okay, before increase, what is the value? This is it. Plus sign, yes. So plus sign, if you have a string and you want to display a variable in the same line, you can write plus a. So that will display this string and the variable. For example, let's say we are trying to display this. Comment this. So for example, if you have, let's say, system.out.println, you want to display this as hello plus, let's say, whatever variable, 5 value, right? So it will print it. It simply print it. Concatenate, right? It also works as concatenation. Kind of concatenation. Hello, 5. Yeah, concatenation. Okay. So we are using the same logic. Okay. So here we are just passing a value. We are trying to print it before increasing. We are increasing its value. We are printing. In case you do not get this, let's write it as a plus 1 or a plus 5. Okay, a plus 5. Okay. Now in here, I am taking a variable a. Okay. Let's name it. Let's give it the value. Let's say. Let's give it the value 3. Okay. System.out.println. Before call, we want to print a. Just put a space before call the function. Okay. We want to call the function increase. We pass it as a, and then we again print this same thing, but this will be after. Okay. Now, can everyone predict the output of this? If I run this thing, what will be the output? So our code will start with main. First thing is a will get the value 3, will print before call a, will call the function, it will go to here, it will print this, it will run this line of code, it will run this, and then finally it will print this. Okay. So what is the order? So you'll print a for probably 4 times. Before call a, before increase, after call, after increase, after call. Right? Just tell me those 4 values that you'll print. 3, 3, 8, 3. Okay. What else? What about others? What do you think? What are the 4 values? Let me fit everything into screen if I can. Yeah. So just see everything and just try to tell me what are the 4. 3, 3, 8, 8. Okay. 3, 3, 8, 8. Okay. Okay, no worries. I was expecting the same answer, 3, 3, 8, 8. But the answer is 3, 3, 8, 3. See, 3, 3, 8, 3. Okay, now this is something different which we did not expect. What is happening over here? Okay, let's look. Let's look. Okay. How? Yes. How is the question? How is the biggest question? And it is very easy to understand, not difficult. See, here it is printing 3. Easy. We assign the value 3, we are printing it. So 3, what as expected. Okay. We are calling the function increase. Okay. We are calling the function, we went inside the function. Now, here there is a thing that this variable that is getting created, this A is different. A variable in a function is different than the variable in the other function. Okay. So the variable that was created over here, which had the value 3, was this A variable inside main. This was the variable inside the main function. When I went to this increase function, it was a different variable that was created when I declared this A again. Okay, so this is a different variable altogether. Okay. चलो कोड एक साथ कर देते हैं, comment वाले lines को हटा के. So let me remove this comment वाला lines. We even don't need this comment. Okay, this is important concept to learn. Okay, maybe. So what happened is inside this increase wala function, we have this A, it is a different variable. It initially got the value 3. Okay, because we passed value 3. So whenever you write this call, whenever you write this statement, the variable is not getting passed. The value inside that variable is getting passed. Okay. So whenever you write a variable or whenever you write a value, it does not matter. It is passing the value, even though you're writing variable or whatever you write. So only the value is getting passed. It does not pass the variable. Okay. So that's why 3 was passed. This is a different variable. When I performed this increase operation, it increased it from 5 to 3 to 5. It printed it. So we saw the output 8. We are seeing after increase it is printing 8. Initially got 3. So it printed 3. After increase it is printing 8. Now the function ended. Function ended over here. I came back to this mean logic, mean wala function. Okay. Now when I'm running this line, what is happening is it is trying to refer to this mean wala variable. Mean variable still has a value 3. So that's why I see the value 3. Okay. But if you return and you reinitialize it back, so that is a different story. Firstly, did you get this? So every time you'll pass a variable or value, you will never pass. So when you are passing value, so that is it. You are passing the value. If you are passing a variable, that means you are passing the value inside the variable. You are not passing that variable. Any changes inside the function will not be reflected back. Okay. So this is known as call by value. Now you got this term, call by value. So call by value means calling a function by value. Okay. Only the value get passed. Okay, clear? Array के लिए different है. Just this is same for everything. Strings, float, integer, character, everything it is same, but arrays के लिए थोड़ा different. Okay, so this is not same for arrays. I'll explain arrays separately. That's why I'm not taking arrays in function right now. Okay, that means both variable A are different. Yes, both the A variables are different. They are not same. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, let's not take A over here. Let's take this variable as B. Okay, and let's pass this as B. Let's pass this variable B. Now you got the question that you were asking why M is passing and why it is taking. Because it was not referring to M. It was passing the value that was present inside the M. So if I write it as B, see, it does not matter. This B is a variable which is inside the main function. Okay. Now when I call this increase wala function, variable A gets created. A is a different variable which is inside the increase wala function. Okay. And B is having the value 3, whatever value we had, it passed it to A. Now A is having that value. Inside this function, A will have the value, whatever we'll do and whatever we'll print, that is, it will behave that way, assuming A will have the initial value as 3, whatever B passed it. Okay. And it will perform that operation. When it will come back to here, after this function is done, when it will come back to this line, when I write B, it will not change its value. It is referring to this B in the main function. Okay. If you will return that value, then it will change. Clear? Call by value. This entire thing is known as call by value. First, you tell me Call by will clear. Returning wala I will explain. Okay, which step is running by? So firstly it runs line by line. ठीक है, line by line run करता है. This runs line by line. I'll explain in Hindi. This runs in line by line. So firstly start with main. ठीक है, main से start होता है. In main whatever is written line by line that it runs in that particular order. So firstly like it was written. So firstly we found out that this was written b is equals to 3. So it initialize this value. Next we are printing this. So before call PC, we are seeing before call 3. Next we are running increase. So it goes to increase. Inside this increase it runs all of them line by line. Okay, so first is before increase A. So we are printing before increase 3. Next it increases its value by 3, it becomes 8. Now it prints after increase and it prints 8 after increase 8. It comes back and then it prints after call B. So after call 3. Okay. Whatever line by line we have written that executes in that particular order. Here we have two variables. Yes, there are two variables. B is the variable of the main function. A is the variable in the increase function. But B's value is getting passed to A. ठीक है, एक बार हिंदी में बताते हैं. ठीक है. So basically, let's say हमने कोई भी वेरिएबल बनाया मेन फंक्शन. अब हम उस वेरिएबल को फंक्शन कॉल में पास करें. फंक्शन कॉल में उस वेरिएबल को पास करें. तो होगा क्या? ये वेरिएबल पास नहीं होगा. वो वेरिएबल का नाम A हो, B हो, कुछ भी हो. उस वेरिएबल में जो वैल्यू होगा वो वैल्यू पास हो जाएगा इस फंक्शन में. ठीक है, ये फंक्शन वो वैल्यू रिसीव करेगा. इसके बाद इस फंक्शन में जो भी ऑपरेशन हो रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर वेरिएबल पे रिफ्लेक्ट होगा. इसके मेन के जो भी वेरिएबल की कॉपी है जहां पे वेरिएबल का डेटा है उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं आएगा. मान लो मेन में एक वेरिएबल था b, उसमें 3 वैल्यू, हमने 3 को पास कर दिया इंक्रीज वाले फंक्शन. अब इंक्रीज को चेंज करके 8 कर दे रहा है, 50 कर दे रहा है, 100 कर दे रहा है, इसको फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. ठीक है, इट विल चेंज इट टू 8, 50, 100, जो भी, ये फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. इसके अंदर ये चेंज होगा. इफ आई ट्राई टू प्रिंट इट इनसाइड दिस फंक्शन, वो चेंज होकर प्रिंट दिखेगा मुझे. बट इफ आई कम बैक एंड इफ आई यूज दिस सेम थिंग, अगर मैं वापस आके यहाँ पे यूज करूँ तो मेन फंक्शन में वो चेंज नहीं दिखेगा. मेन फंक्शन में उसमें, क्योंकि ये बी इसको रेफर करेगा, उसको नहीं पता इस वेरिएबल में क्या चेंज हुआ था और उसको मतलब भी नहीं है उससे. ठीक है, क्या a इज चेंज्ड, b ऑलवेज रिमेन्स द सेम. अगर इवन तो इस वेरिएबल का नाम a भी होता, दैट्स व्हाई आई स्टार्टेड विद द सेम नेम, राइट. अगर इसका नाम a भी होगा तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि a, if it is even a, then also it does not matter, it will not change, right, because this a is a function, a is a variable of main function, that a is a variable of increase function. Even though this is a, you'll see that last time after call it is printing still 3, that is not changing. Yeah. So only change is inside that function, it is not coming back to the main function. Clear? And this was very important. Yeah, explain when we return. Now when you return, that is a different story. If you return that value and you're storing it, clear to everyone? Firstly tell me, this one is clear, this story? Yes, easy, right? बस ऐसे समझो, हर एक फंक्शन अपना कॉपी रखता है, उसको मतलब ही नहीं है दूसरे फंक्शन से. उसके पास क्या है, वो तो बस उससे वैल्यू मांग रहा है. Console before the first print. Console before first print. I'm not getting the question. Prashant. Console before first time, I'm printing it every point, right? Printing before calling the function, printing inside the function at the call, updating it after that I am printing, and then I'm coming back again and I'm printing. Right? So next move to the next top, right? Which is return. If we return this value, then it becomes a different story. For example, we return this A. Okay. So that is the value that is present inside the increase function, and I want to return that. Okay. जो भी A finally it became after changing it, after increasing, I want to return. Now in case if I store it in A, this will get updated. This A will change because I am storing it back in A. Let's say I store it in a different variable, so that variable will get the updated value. A will still remain same, right? Let's say print A and let's say print B. After call, okay, let's try to run this. So what will happen? See, it is still, this B is getting the new value, right? A is still same. It does. I'm returning A, but I'm not storing it in A. I'm storing it in a different variable B. So B is having the new value 8. Okay. If I store it in A, so A will get updated. Right? If I do this thing, if I store it back in A, so A will get updated. But if I store it in some other value, okay, this is not clear. Before call पहले print before call सबसे पहले print हुआ because our function our code runs from the main function. Our code run starts from the main function. So this I told again and again before defining functions. It does not matter what is the order in which you have defined these functions. The first function that will run is the main function. Inside main function, whatever code is written, that will only run. So if you have declared a function and you have not called it inside the main, so that will never run. ठीक है, अगर मैंने कोई फंक्शन डिक्लेयर कर दिया और उसको मेन के अंदर कभी कॉल ही नहीं किया तो रन ही नहीं करेगा. ठीक है, अच्छा अब समझ आया. नाउ सी इट इज आफ्टर कॉल इट इज प्रिंटिंग 8 because I am returning that number A, I am storing it back in A. Okay, so after return, if the function returns something, I have to store it. So I am storing it, and that's how A is getting updated. Otherwise, A will not get updated. So main has its own copy of A. ठीक है, इंक्रीज वाला फंक्शन हैज इट्स ओन कॉपी ऑफ ए. ठीक है, ओके. सो मेन हैड द वैल्यू 3. ठीक है, चलो मेन हैड द वैल्यू 3. I passed it to this increase. Increase had value 3. Now what I am doing inside this increase? See what I am trying to do inside this increase. I am trying to change display it. ठीक है, I got in before call I got 3. After before increase I got 3. I increased it. So after increase I got 8. Now I'm returning it. Okay, so it became 8. I'm returning this 8, and then I am storing it back in this A of main. A of main में store करें. When I'm writing A anywhere inside the main function, it means I'm refer to this A variable that was created in main. Okay, so anywhere I write A, but it refers to that variable. Okay, so now this will get updated to 8. Okay, and finally we are printing 8. Easy, clear. So इससे questions नहीं आता. These are small concepts on functions that you have to know for now. ठीक है, since function is part, we'll learn these all in very much detail. ठीक है, for now, if like you may face issues while writing code, you will update something inside the function. You will say that sir, my value is not getting updated because function has a different copy. So function, if you update something inside function, that will not get reflected. ठीक है, so that is something which you have to keep in mind while writing function, right? Or you joined late. Yeah, the lecture is getting recorded, so you can watch the recording. What it is called by? So this is called by call by value. This function thing, this calling is known as call by value. Why call by value? Now you may get the term, right? Call by value. Call by value means we are calling a function by value. Okay, we are not calling by variable. We are not calling by any reference to any variable. We are calling this function by value. Okay, easy. Yes, no. Explain the, okay, computer reads this code line by line. So computer starts from the main function. How does Java read? So it starts from the main function. It reads this code line by line by line. Okay. So whatever line by line you have written, so that will get in that order. Okay. So you may see an input output question like this. Okay. Error recording is not there, so you'll get it. Recording will get uploaded in case that is not there by that one. Okay. How can we differ function and loop? So function is different, loop is different. Loop is running something again and again. Function is something that I have defined. If I call this, it will perform this work and it will get this work done. Okay. If I call a function, it will get a particular work done. Okay. So that is what a function is. Loop is something running again and again. So this is call by value, right? Okay, call by value. Here also it is call by value, right? I am also here also it is not receiving anything. Even though it is returning, this is call by value, right? Because I'm giving this value, it returns something. I have reassigned it, but the function is getting called by value, right? So this call by value is a term for calling this function. How this function gets called? We can call the function as many times. Okay, actually return value. So now after performing this operation, I'm returning, take whatever value this function got, I return that value, and then I'm trying that back to assign it to A. This A inside a main is a different variable. This A inside function is a different variable. That is the only point that you have to understand. ठीक है, दोनों दो different variable है, same variable नहीं है. Okay. What if I define a function in a default identifier? For now, not explain that question because that may get somewhat difficult for others. Here. Function is like a class that we can. You can think of that in that particular way. Right? Not universal, but that can be used inside this. Okay. Inside example of call by reference, I'll give you. Okay. Now everyone is clear on that part. This part. So call by reference बताते हैं. If we take it time, we may pick up 2D arrays or we'll pick up 2 more. Okay. We have 2 more sessions. अच्छा 2 more sessions है. Yes. Function को method भी बोलते हैं. Yes, function को method भी बोलते हैं. This is important, right? Functions is important. This call by value, call by reference is very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand कि error क्यों हो रहा है. You will say, sir, my code is correct, but I'm not seeing the output. Because you might have changed it inside the function. You are trying to print it inside the main, so that will not change. Yes. So now everything, all the data type that you pass, everything gets called by value. Okay. What is called by reference? So every data type that you pass. First execute main, so it only executes main body. It does not execute any function. For example, let me give you an example. For example, public static void display. Let's just write this. Okay. See, if I run this, you will not see a hello world output. Why? Can anyone explain why do you not see a hello world output? 2D पढ़ा देते. चलो, let's see if we get time. We'll understand. Method and function is same. Method functions are also known as methods. Why we do not see a hello world output? I wrote a system.out.println hello world, but we are not seeing. Because it is not called inside the main function, right? Because we are not calling that. So if you just write the definition of the function, this is known as function definition, right? I told you that this is a definition function definition. Okay, and this is calling the function. Okay, so if you do not call the function, you just define it, we'll never be able to get that value, right? So you will never be able to run that code. No, even if you write string args in it, it will not make any change. If it does not, the name is the name main is important. It does not matter even if you write a string args in it. It will not run that. Okay, so it does not matter to it. If you write display in the main function, if you write display, that you will get. Right? So this is calling. Right? If you write display in the main function, then you will get. Right? Return again. So in return, basically, we are just trying to receive this value. We are trying to return the updated value. That updated value, जो भी update हो रहा है function उसको return करें. Updated value we are trying to reassign back to a variable which is in main function. Main function में जो a variable है उसको assign करें. Main doesn't have a reference to return. Main does not write return. In main we do not write it. Can we call only in main? Yeah, we can. No, you can call this function inside other function as well. For example, you want to call this inside this, you can call this. You can no issue. You can call one function another function, and that will also work. You don't need to just call it inside main. You can call it in some other function. See, it is working. It is printing this, so it will work inside this function. So the order will differ now. We are firstly printing this. We are calling the increase function. We are going to increase. We are printing before increase. We are increasing this value. We are printing after increase. Then we are printing hello world. Inside this increase function, I'm printing, right? And then I'm coming back and here I'm printing after, right? So order will change, right? Order will change. So depending on where you have code, you are just try to run the code line by line. Just code को line by line run करो और कभी दिक्कत नहीं आएगी. You will never face issue कि कैसे run हो रहा है. Just run it line by line. Start on the main function. Run this. Run this. Run this. Go here. Run this. 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 come back, and then this. Yes. No, you cannot call it outside main before it. If you want to call, you have to call it inside some other function or inside main function. हिंदी में बता दिया तो मैंने, और क्या बताना है इस पे? फंक्शन को बस लाइन बाय लाइन रन करो, मेन फंक्शन से स्टार्ट करो, लाइन बाय लाइन रन करने के लिए फर्स्ट लाइन, सेकंड लाइन, थर्ड लाइन वैसे रन करो. फर्स्ट लाइन रन हुआ, सेकंड लाइन रन हुआ, फिर इंक्रीज रन हुआ. इंक्रीज के अंदर दिस लाइन ran, this line ran, and then this. After this we ran the display wala function call, so it displayed this hello world, and then it returned. Since it returned, and then it came back here, right? Taking it means that just making a function is not enough, but after calling, yes, just making the function is not enough. If we call, then only it will work. If it does not call, it will not. Right? मान लो हमने गाड़ी बना दी, अब हम गाड़ी को स्टार्ट ही नहीं करेंगे तो गाड़ी चलेगी कैसे? Right? So if we just made a car and we are never starting it, we are not turning on the engine, so it will not run. Right? So that way, here we made the car, right? We made this display function, but हम उसको कॉल ही नहीं कर रहे, उसको स्टार्ट ही नहीं करते, चलेगा कैसे वो? Right? If there is no return in display function, we will just mark it as void. अगर return नहीं है तो void mark कर देते हैं, right? एक बहुत अच्छा example I'll give you in the last class related to this class and function वाला logic, right? I had it in my 9 or 10th standard, right? Related to cars, right? I just remembered that I explained it as car. ठीक है, चलो, let's move to the next topic, which is call by reference. ठीक है, main function को comment करते हैं. Okay. If you return this function, so just receive it, right? If you want to return this, let's say display function return something, you can receive it in a variable, or if you want to print it, you can print it in the system.out.println. Same way, na? जैसे सोचो कि inside main function we were calling a function. So the same kind of logic will work over here. Actually, we are getting confused. Yes, I got it. You are getting confused. The only way to solve this confusion is start with step 1, that is start by running main function. Inside main function, just try to run this line of code. ठीक है, अब मुझे बताओ line number 1 क्या है? This is line number 1. This is line number 2. ठीक है, this is line number 3. Now line number 3, this ran. Since it is calling a function, it will go to this increase. Okay, let's do this work, right, so that it will become clear. Inside this, we'll learn this line number 4. This is line number 5. This is line number 6. This is line number 7. This is line number 8. Line number 8 finally returned the value, and then we came back here. It received this value, this thing received that value, and this became line number. Okay. So it is not like 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 1, 2, 3. Inside 3, there is a function call. It will go here. Inside, okay, this is 7, right? Okay, 7 is again a function call. So this becomes line number 8. Inside we go to display function. It becomes 8. We come back here after completing display. This becomes 9. We return, and then this becomes 10. समझ आया? See everything in the same frame, then you will be able to understand. Yes. So basically, just think of which line is running in the main function. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just run it one after another. What is the use of returning? It is returning the variable that was created inside this increase wala function. Okay? Just try to run it line by line, step by step. Don't think if I give you this much code and tell you what is the output. If you try to see everything at once, you'll never get the output. Just try to start with main, how the computer thinks. From the day 1, I'm telling this. Just try to think in terms of computer. Simply because I can see everything and my brain, I interprets everything. We don't have to read everything. Okay? Read whatever is necessary and start from the main function and read line by line. Okay? Don't try to read everything that you see in the code. Just try to read line by line, then only you will be able to get the route. Okay? No, call by reference is not done. No, today is not the last lecture. My last lecture will be on Sunday. Okay, so we have 2 more lectures. Okay, so don't worry on the number of classes wala part. I ensure that I'll be completing everything and with everything in much more detail. Okay. So let's begin call by reference and then I will take up your doubts. So we have 20 minutes. Okay. So every value, every data type, every variable will be called by value. Integer, float, character, double, a string, everything is called by value. Only variable that is called by reference is array. So let's say I declare an array. Let's say I give it a value 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 10, 12. Private heap is different. Yes, it is different. Private heap is something else. Sure. Okay, let's create a function. Public static. Let's type it as, it does not return anything, void, and let's write as increase. And we want to receive this integer array. Okay. Now inside this, let's try to run. Let's try to find length. We can find the length of the array using a dot length. We can run a loop. Okay, I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Okay, let's not do anything this much. It may become tricky, right? So let's just keep a of 0 as 10. Okay, let's print it over here. System dot out dot println a of 0. I'm printing a of 0. I'm calling this increase wala function and passing it a as a. For array, you don't need to just you don't need to write anything. In the call, you just have to write it as a, right? Pass it as a normal variable pass. Don't have to do anything, right? And here we receive it as a array. Okay, we don't write it a as a variable. We write it a as a array. Okay. Next, in here we can write system dot out dot println and we can write a of 0. Okay. So, let's try to write it. Before call, I could have used the previous one logic. So let's try to write it. Okay. Now inside here, I can write it system dot out dot println before increase. Okay. Here, same logic we are writing. We are just trying to update a 0, a of 0 value. Okay. Except array, everything comes under call by value. Yes. In array, what you will observe is this is actually updating this value. See, after call, you are getting the value 0, value 10. See, what is happening? Same logic. We have an array. We are printing before call a of 0. What is printing? 2. Okay, because a of 0 is 2. Okay. We are increasing its value. We are calling this increase wala function. We are increasing it. Before increase, it is printing 2. So it received the value 2. We perform the increase wala operation. It changed its value to 10. Okay. And here I am printing after it is printing 10. Now, even though I come back to the main function, मैं main function वापस आने के बाद भी print कर रहा हूँ, तब भी ये 10 print करें because it is updating the. ठीक है? हाँ, call by reference is exactly opposite of call by value. ठीक है? Call by reference is exactly opposite of call by value. Increase a, not a of 0. I am passing the array, not a single a of 0. I am passing the array now. I was not passing a single value. Okay, I am passing an array. So I am receiving this as an array. Okay. Explain again. So basically, if let's say I am passing an array, I am not passing a single value. I am passing an array. This is not only for a of 0. Let's say I try to update a of 1 to let's say 12. Okay. Let's say I try to update a of 1. Let's try to print both of them, a of 0, a of 1. Okay. Let's try to print both of them. Okay. Let's try to print it over here. Okay, let's try to run this. See, whatever values indexes you will increase. I missed a plus over here. See, whatever index values you will increase, that will get updated. See, if both of them had value 24 before the call, okay, fine. They had the value 24 before the call, okay, fine. Now I'm trying to change it after increase 10, 12, it is changing it 10, 12, and even though I come back to this main function, it is having the value 10, 12. It is not getting the previous value. Right. So we pass all the variables, okay, as called by value, okay. Only thing that is called by reference is array. Now, can you think of a logic why array is called by reference and why all the other variables are called by value? एक लॉजिक सोच सकते हो थोड़ा सा सोचो इंडेक्स नहीं दो रीजन में बता सकता हूँ ठीक है देयर इज टू रीजंस ठीक है नॉट सेम डेटा टाइप ठीक है रीजन इज फर्स्ट रीजन इज कि सिंपली बिकॉज वी कैन नॉट रिटर्न समथिंग राइट हम रिटर्न तो नहीं कर सकते अ लिस्ट ऑफ एरे वी कैन नॉट रिटर्न समथिंग ठीक वी कैन नॉट रिटर्न अ लिस्ट ऑफ नंबर्स ठीक है the return type can be only fundamental data type like integer float boolean character right एक value return कर सकते थे list of values to return नहीं कर सकते so if let's say I want to update the array and I want to return an updated array I cannot if I want to update a value and I want to return that value I can so that's why one logic is since I cannot return the entire list again because there is no way I can return a list of numbers. I can only return the fundamental data like integer, float, double, character, boolean, string. I cannot return an array. So that is one logic. We will not create a copy of it. We'll use the same copy of that array. So even though this main function and increase wala function is different, main function I created an array. Okay, a array. So when I call this increase function, it did not create an A array. It is trying to use the same A array. So जो A array create हुआ था initially, it is trying to use the same A array. It is not creating a copy of it. 2, 4, 5, 10, 12. There is no copy of array that is getting created. For string also there is copy getting created. String is also called by value. String for call by value have int, float, string, double. Whatever data type we learned, right? Only array is called by reference. Okay, easy. Even though it contains a line, it will be called by value. Where we created reference variable, there is no. This is the name of the reference variable that we created. Okay. This is the name of the reference variable. Okay. Can we receive it with a different name? Yes, you can. Even though you receive it with a different name, it will mean the same thing. See, I'm trying to receive it with a different name. Okay, I received it with a name B. Okay, I performed all the operation on this name B. Let's try to run this. Okay. See, it is still updating after call. You are getting the value 10, 12. How? Even though you receive it with a different name, what will happen is increase will say, okay, this is an array, right? So I will not create a copy. I will give a name B. I am trying to receive this as a name B, but B refers to this same array. B is not different array. So B array and A array both are same. So even though you have two different name of variables inside the main function, inside the other function which you are calling, so that is still referring to the same variables, same values. ठीक है, same values it will same variable location. ठीक है, so memory means both are same. Array values remain same in all function. Yes, it will remain same in all functions. Even though you pass it to any third function, it will remain same. So even though you pass it to third function from increase, it will remain the same. And if that updates, so it will update it here as well, and it will update it here as well. Okay, so arrays are always called by reference. Got it? Yes, no. Yes. Okay. Easier. ठीक है. So in case you have a different variable name, for example, you are trying to receive it with a value with a name B, what will happen is the same array will be referred, but it will use it the name. For example, just assume it is giving a name. Our parents call with us with a different name. Our friends know a different name, right? So अगर मैं इसको एक different name से receive भी करूँगा, so it will mean the same thing. They both mean us, right? They both are calling us the same person. So here also they both are calling the same values, or whenever the update will happen, it will update the same value. Can we pass only one element? Yes, we can pass one element of the array, but it will become then call by value. Okay. Achha, let me show you. Let me clear this. Okay. So if I pass a of 0 instead of a, okay, let's create another function. Let's just not try to do this. Let's create another function. Let's call it as decrease. Okay. I pass it as a of 0. Okay. This function will not have any change reflected back, because if you pass a single variable, that is received as a, let's say receive it as a. Okay. So now we can do this logic. See, I'm performing before increase, after increase. Okay. I'm trying to print this. What is the value that I'm passing? Decrease 0. Let's try to print this. It will pass it as value. It will be passed as call by value if you are passing a single value of that. See, it is not updating. See, before increase it was 10, after increase it became 15. Okay, sorry, decrease, it was the name of the function. Decrease and decrease. Okay, let's try to run. See, before decrease was 10, after decrease it became 15. But if I am printing it back inside this main function, it is still having the value 10. So if you pass a single value from the array, that is passed as value. If you pass the entire array, that only will be passed as call by reference. Okay. Can array with passed with function? Yes, it can be passed, right? We pass it with a name B, right? For why the array is called by reference? So first reason is it is passed since it is a list of numbers. So when the array cannot return a list, right? Array can return a single number. So first reason is fundamental reason, which may sound like somewhat fundamental. Since it cannot return a list of number, it is updating the same list. Okay. But which is not a practical reason. The second reason is, if you remember, we learned something about stack and heap. Right? Do you remember stack and heap? Stack, heap. No? Yes. So we had two things, stack and a heap, right? So where arrays were created in the heap. Heap had a different section for string, known as string pool. See, okay. Heap में एक छोटा सा section होता था, which was string, where strings are stored. Okay, strings are stored in a different part of the heap, which is known as string pool. Okay. Apart from this string pool and this stack, whatever is created in the heap, no copy of that thing is created. And what is stored in it, for now that we know, array. So no copy of array will be created. Whatever data type or whatever data we store in heap, no copy of that will be created if we pass it to any other function. Okay. There are other things like arrays as well, like array list, linked list, stack, queues, other different kind of things which is created in heap, for which no copy is created. Trees, or there are different things, right? We'll gradually learn those things in the main code. Because this is the major reason. You should answer this reason, not that reason. So that is one funny reason that I explained. But yeah, don't say that and you tell me that Ritik sir explained that. So anything that is created in heap, no copy of that is created. Okay. So you may get a question, what is call by reference and what is call by value? A direct question. The simple answer is, if I pass something, a variable to it to a function, a reference to a value is only the value is passed in call by value. Okay. If any changes is made inside the function, that will not reflect back in the main variable. Okay. What is called by reference? If I pass an array or something, which is, if any changes is made to that array inside the function, that will be reflected back in the main function array as well. What is stack and heap? So those are two sections of memory which store the data. Right? Now you can rewatch the previous. I guess we covered this previous to previous class. Okay, so you watch that recording and you can get the idea. I guess I took 20-30 minutes to discuss this thing. String is called by, yes, string is called by value, right? That's why we had a separate part of string in here, right? String constant pool, string is called by value. Can we cannot create the same array in different function by name? Same array in a different function by same, yes, you can create, right? Same array with a different function by the same name, you can create this. Single array is called by array. Single value is called by array, call by value. Single value is called by, yes, single array value is a call by value. Yes, single array value is a call by value. This decrease. See, in decrease, I am passing a of 0. Single array value, right? Not the array, single array value, right? Yes. I'm trying to explain the decrease part. I'm passing a single array value. See, inside this decrease, I'm trying to print before decrease 10, trying to change it. So it becomes 15. I print after decrease, it is 15. If I come back and I print a of 0, it is still 10. That means if I pass a single array value, that is called by value, that is not called by reference. Got it? What other data types? So there are a lot more things, right? Like linked list, array list, right? All these things are there. We'll learn that in the main batch. Okay. Will function come in test? You may get questions related to this in the. So stack is that section of memory which is storing all the fundamental data variables like int, float, character, boolean, string, whatever, not string, int, float, character, boolean, whatever we create, that is getting stored in stack. Okay. Heap is that section of memory which stores the array. Okay. And it has a separate part which is known as string constant pool, which stores the string. Okay. These are the three parts where these variables are created. Stack, all the fundamental variables that we create, heap, arrays, and this part of heap, which is known as string constant pool, which stores the string. Okay. This is it on memory. What is string constant pool? A fixed part of heap which stores the string. Okay. A special part, because string ko specially रख दिया, special data. Mark number in the code line by line. So let's mark. So which is line number 1? This is line number 1. Which is line number 2? This. Which is line number 3? This. Okay. Then function call. Function call will go over here. This becomes line number 4. This becomes line number 5. This becomes line number 6. This becomes line number 7. We come back. This becomes line number 8. This becomes line number 9. We go to decrease. This becomes line number 10. This becomes line number 11. This becomes line number 12. Okay. This becomes line number 30. Easiest ways. Just line by line सोचो function को ध्यान में मत रखो. क्या लिखा हुआ है कोड? 10,000 lines of code भी लिखा हुआ है. Just एक point से start करो तभी run कर पाएंगे. Otherwise not. String is part of fundamentals. So why it is stored in? Why it should be stored in stack, right? The string has a lot of different properties than the fundamental data type, which fundamental data type do not have. That's why string is special. ठीक है? हाँ, mean batch में revise होगा. Mean batch में इससे ज़्यादा detail में पढ़ाई होगा, right? I just have a limited time to cover. I'm just trying to give you as much knowledge as possible. ठीक है? Most of the things you may not even get in the test or may not even get in the initial round. But you should know in case you get. You should not tell that I got function and do not know call by value and reference. So decrease वाला part simple है. अगर array को if you pass a single value instead of the entire array, that is called by value. Simple. बस इतना याद रखो कि if we pass array का एक single value, that is called by value, not called by reference. String is stored in heap, but why it is called by value? String is special, right? String and arrays, these are two special childs. These two will always be treated specially because हमने इसको specially design करा, ठीक है? Because our requirement. Concepts and questions are getting tougher. This may be sounding a lot. ठीक है? To be very honest, for 12 days में this is a lot of things. ठीक है? I remember last time I taught this in the main batch and I took around almost a month. ठीक है? And I only covered, apart from this, string was covered. So I took entire month. Okay. So now you can get how fast we are going. So okay, don't worry on that part. You will get this entire thing covered in the main batch. Okay. Abhi ke liye just try to grab as much as possible, which may help you to clear the initial. right? My entire goal is, right, all the people who is attending the class every day, right, they should be able to clear. If you are attending every day and you are not able to clear, then that is my flaw, not your flaw, that I was not able to teach, right? Okay, so don't worry with that part. Chalo, 50% everyone. How many of you got 50%? That gives me a good feeling while I go back from the class, to be honest. Yeah, I was able to teach 50%. 70, 90, 50, 80. Chalo, revisit this thing. I'll share the code, rewatch the recording once again, try to play around with it. Best thing is play around with it, you'll get your answers to all your questions. Okay? The part 10. Okay, please rewatch the recording. In case you are below 50, please rewatch the recording. Chalo, tomorrow we'll do 2D arrays. बहुत छोटा सा concept. 2D arrays is very easy. ठीक है, we know array. 2D is very easy. ठीक है. Let's say an updation part. Updation. ठीक है, चलो, I'll recap everything again tomorrow. ठीक है. Today's note and yesterday's note I have not shared. I'll share that. I'm saving today's notes so that I do not miss out. Let's save this. Just a second. Okay, I've saved it. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, and we have 2 more days. Let's try to recap everything, grasp everything, and be prepared for the exam. I see a lot. Hello, thank you, everyone. Okay. Please leave a positive review after the session if you like the code, if you like the class. That quick review will help me. Okay, in case you like, and please leave a honest feedback, so that will help me improve whatever things went wrong, right? Okay. Thank you, everyone. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Good night. I'll solve assignment questions. Tomorrow we'll learn 2D arrays and solve a lot of questions. Okay? Chalo, good night. Bye-bye. See you again.